It's a Tuesday in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, Amish country. And what do I have up my sleeve today? Well, I have 3 words for you: market, maternity, and Moravian. Yes, you heard me right. Stay tuned to find out what in the world I'm talking about. But trust me when I tell you it's a really special day. Hey everyone, thanks for being here today. I am Danielle, your host here on L Living, and I love bringing you Lancaster videos to help plan our trips and to learn more about this amazing place. There's just so much to learn. So today is the Tuesday episode of my almost perfect week in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I'm really excited to get into this day because it's super special, and there's one particular place that makes it special. And you Lancaster fans and locals probably know what I'm going to say, and it is Roots. Spelled roots, but pronounced roots to the locals and those of us who are from that area. So that's where we're going to start our day, at Roots Country Market and Auction. Let's just jump right in. Okay, so here is the scoop on Roots Market. It is a very large outdoor and indoor market with over 200 vendors. It is open year-round, but only on Tuesdays, and their official hours are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., but I'm going to give you a tip about that later. However, they do have another flea market available on some Saturdays. Here you will find all sorts of products like fresh food, of course, fruits, veggies, meats, cheeses, baked goods, spices, but also jewelry, collectibles, candles, dog food, toys, paintings, antiques. It goes on and on and on. Pretty much everything except maybe a brand new car, I think. You probably could even buy a buggy here if you wanted to. They also have live animals to buy, like chickens and goats. There are several places to get some handcrafted sandwiches and other hot food made to order. So everything here is the gamut. It's a great local experience when you're in Lancaster County. There are about 9 buildings on this property, although 5 of them are very interconnected. I'll show you a map here. I did a very long introduction on Roots and why it's so special and why you should go there. But let's get back to our kind of hourly itinerary. So I did say we're going here first. So we're going to have breakfast here. If you can grab a coffee on the way if you want, but I would definitely suggest getting breakfast here. And whether you like savory or sweet or big or small, they got you covered here. One of the 2 busiest places I have seen every time I have gone here is the bakery in the middle of the T of the buildings of 1, 2, and 3. It's a lot of baked goods. It smells delicious there, and a lot of people are always buying a lot of food there. The other one is the sub shop along building 1. I believe they have an outdoor little stand, and of course they have an indoor area you can order from. I've seen many people ordering subs for breakfast or for taking home later. There is food everywhere here. You're not gonna be lacking for something to eat. There's definitely lots of things here to choose from. So definitely save your room for breakfast here, or do what I do and just literally snack throughout the entire marketplace and just eat a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. It's really fun to kind of taste test everything. And for those who love smoked meats, there is a smoked meat section behind building 1, between building 1 and the bathrooms. They are smoking meat out there. It smells really good, and that's the place you can go for some smoked meats. I'm breaking in here to make sure you listen to what I'm about to tell you. If all that is not enough for you to go visit Roots, I have a very good reason for you to go in 2025. It is the 100th anniversary of this company. It was started by A.W. Root back in 1925, and the same family has owned it for 4 generations, and they keep on producing this great market. So it's very special. Roots is doing some special things to kind of celebrate this. They're going to be celebrating with gift certificates throughout the year. Every 3rd Tuesday, they're having a drawing. You got to come put your name in, and they're going to draw it out every 3rd Tuesday. Also, there'll be many stands that will have special sales and anniversary kind of deals. It's definitely something to celebrate. I mean, that's not something common to go to a market that's been around for 100 years with the same family. So bravo. I'm very excited about this. I love Roots. I've been going there with my family since my kids were little, but my mom used to go with my great-grandparents when she was a kid. So my family has been going there for 4 generations, and we love it, and it's very special to us too. So congratulations, Roots. That's very awesome. I'm going to give you a few more tips and tricks about Roots and what we usually get when we're there, and then we're going to get to our lunch plans a little later. We always get some baked goods, always some whoopie pies, almost always a shoe fly pie, cantaloupe, and watermelon. One place I love getting hot food from is Fink's French Fries. They've been there for a long time. In fact, they are 80 years, family owned and operated. They have bacon, brisket, and lots of fun ingredients to put on your French fries. So it's very delicious. They've been here at Roots since 1983. Very, very delicious place to get French fries. But we also fill up on meats and cheeses, My kids love beef sticks, so I always get some of those. So we definitely have plenty of food here. So again, always bring a cooler to Lancaster, but especially when you're going to any kind of market, always have a cooler or two in your car to store your snacks as you're going about your day and exploring the countryside. I have a few pro tips for you. First of all, their technical hours may start at 9 a.m., but I'm telling you right now, a lot of the market is booming and hopping by 7:30 a.m. for sure. In fact, I think one of the restaurants opens at 6 a.m. So this place is already hopping in by 7:30, if not 7 a.m., especially in the summertime. It is very crowded in the summertime, very popular. And along those lines, be prepared for heavy crowds, especially in the summer, like shoulder to shoulder inside the buildings kind of crowds. I'm actually very curious what this place is like in the afternoon. So if you have been there in the afternoon, leave me a comment, let us know, because I have never been there in the afternoon. I'm kind of curious if it's less crowded and a little easier to maneuver. Some things may be selling out by then. You might miss some of the food you want, but I am curious about the crowds. So let us know in the comments. I do expect you to be here a few hours, most likely, as part of this itinerary. Now, you might just not like crowds and not like this kind of scene, so you might not be there long at all. We'll get to some more options soon. But I would definitely suggest browsing around, taking your time, looking at everything. It's very, very local. A lot of people here. There's a lot of Amish and a lot of English alike selling their goods, all from this area. So very cool. So plan on breakfast here. Plan on spending 2 to 3 hours here, maybe longer. And like I said, there is a sit-down place to eat here. If you want to eat indoors and be waited on and take a break, you can do that. So another pro tip, we'll call it pro tip 2 and 3 officially. I already kind of mentioned the one is to bring a cooler. But in addition to that, bring some bags to get your stuff and put them in, or even like a rolling cart. I see a lot of people with rolling carts here because you're walking a lot and it's a fairly big place and you are piling up all your stuff and it's hard to carry it in bags. So a cart would be great, or just go back and forth to your car if you have to. But yeah, that's another pro tip, is bring some bags or bring a cart to make it easier to do your shopping. And there's so much here that I feel like I've only given you the tip of the iceberg. But I do hope you've seen the value in stopping by. It's just full of treasures. So a great year to go. If you've never been to Roots, why not start when they're 100 years old? Because you're going to get some deals and have extra fun. Okay, so it's time to move on from Roots. I know I spent a lot of time there, but it's dear to my heart, very special. But let's just move on with our day. So if it was me, I would have filled up with all sorts of food at Roots and I would not have been hungry for lunch. But if you didn't do that and you want to sit somewhere and have lunch, I'm going to suggest afternoon option number 1, and that's to head to the town of Lititz, which is about 12 minutes down the road. Not only are you going to get a delicious meal for lunch, you're also going to have lots of options for shopping, and we're also going to do some tours. So let's go to Lititz. So at the beginning of the video, I gave you my 3 M's. We already did the market. I also mentioned Moravians, and that's where Lititz comes in, because Lititz was founded by Moravians. They were a very conservative religious Christian group that came and fled persecution and settled, actually they settled first in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and they also settled in Lititz. I'm going to get into more of the history as we talk about Lititz. But first, let's go over some delicious lunch options here in this town. First, the Tomato Pie Cafe comes highly recommended from me, not only for their great food and beverages, but also the location is great because it is right across the street from Lititz Springs Park. It's a really sweet part of town. But there are a lot of eateries along both Main Street, which is also 501, and South Broad Street, which is Route 772. I've eaten at a couple of them, and they were really great. Lititz Springs Inn offers a little outside seating area with their food, and we ate there one time for lunch. It was really good. It's in kind of like the non-square square. It's a town square without it actually being a square. And so Lititz Springs Inn is right there in the corner of that. Fun fact, my parents came here for their anniversary, their 1-year anniversary back in the 1970s at this exact inn for their dinner. So that's really cool. Neat little history. I have also eaten at Cafe Arabella, and it was very good as well. Very cozy and fresh, and just a neat little, tiny little cafe. Really cool. Once you've had your lunch and you're refueled and ready to go, I'm going to recommend 2 tours this afternoon. First is the Julius Sturgis Pretzel Bakery tour. This little pretzel bakery was the first commercial pretzel bakery in America. It's founded in 1861. I've done this tour a couple times actually. It is a very fun, interactive tour, and definitely worth the $6.25 it takes to do this historical and unique gem of a tour. During the tour, you will learn to roll out and shape a pretzel, but then you're going to also get to see how and where they used to bake them, all the original materials and like tools are still there, and they show you how they used to use them. A great way to step back in time and relive the olden days. These next 2 tours I'm recommending are definitely for the history buffs or for those who really love the deep roots of Lancaster County. And first is the Johannes Mueller house tour. This is a preserved house that has kept many of the original items and tools and furniture from back in the late 1700s. They preserved it and it is a great museum, and you're going to learn a lot about Lititz and especially about the Moravians and who they were and what they did and how things worked here in Lititz, and also how an 18th century home was run. And then the other is a guided historic walking tour of Lititz, and this is about 45 minutes long, and it's $8 to $12 depending on the day and time. This will be more personal stories you're going to hear. You're going to look at the beautiful architecture of Lititz, and you're going to learn about the heritage, the unique past. You're going to explore different historic streets and look at about 25 historic structures along the way, many of which date back to the 1700s. It's a neat little town that you can tell really cares about community, and they make that an effort in all the events they have and the way they take care of their parks and all their buildings. They really care about community. So it's a really neat town to go to. If you love shopping, it's a great place to be as well. Okay, so after you're done all your history enrichment classes in Lititz and tours, there are a lot of different kinds of shops that you can visit in Lititz. But above all, I highly recommend a stop at Wilbur Chocolate, and once you walk inside, you'll be thanking me. It's so fresh and so chocolatey, it's just worth the stop just to walk in and smell it. It is amazing. And it's really cool in there because there's a viewing area, and if you get lucky, they're going to be working on chocolates and shaping them and putting them into the molds. You can watch that happen as they are working on their chocolate and making chocolate. So definitely I would say if you go nowhere else, go to Wilbur Chocolate and just smell the chocolate, eat a piece of chocolate, you'll be happy. But there literally are tons of shops, and very unique shops in Lititz. You could spend all afternoon and really a whole day here if you wanted to just look at the town in depth. There's just so much going on. So it's a really special town, lots to do here. One more thing I want to point out in Lititz before we turn the page on this itinerary, and that is to talk about Lititz Springs Park. I did mention it earlier when I talked about the Tomato Pie Cafe because it's right across the street. This is a beautiful, wonderful park. It's just the right size. It has this really neat water canal, mini canal running through it, and it has springs at the top of it which feed into this little water stream canal thing. But it is a really neat park because they have beautiful trees. They have some community areas for like bands and choirs to sing. It's just a really special park. So take your time to walk down the paths and enjoy this little park and the little bridges. It is just super, super special and super, super beautiful. Okay, so once you're done Lititz or you're ready to move on from Lititz, I have another afternoon activity to suggest that's close by. However, it is only offered on specific days from May to early November. It is called Greystone Ridge Alpacas, and here on select days you can book a tour in an alpaca walk where you will learn all about their farm and literally take an alpaca for a walk if you want to, or you can walk alongside the person who's taking the alpaca for a walk. So it does sound like a really fun thing. If you're curious about alpacas and want to learn more about them, here's your perfect opportunity. But definitely look at the website. I'll link it below. You're going to have to book ahead because they fill up fast. I will tell you, I was looking at their schedule and they were booked out almost every day until the end of May, and this is the end of March. So definitely something you need to book ahead of time. Now I'm going to give you a different kind of afternoon itinerary option. The maternity part of my 3 M words at the beginning of this video. We're finally to the maternity, and you're going to find that at Crider Farms. They have a tour you can ride through on this special little cow bus. It's a really cool tour, a really special tour. That's what I'm going to talk about next. It's been a dairy here since 1935, so it's not quite 100 years old, but it's 90. That's pretty special. And really they have established their land back in 1736. So it's, again, another place with some great history to it. They do a great job of giving you all that history on the tour. What I will tell you is that it started with a man named Christian Hershey in 1717, who came to Lancaster with some other Swiss German Mennonites. And then in 1736, his grandson bought the 400 acres of land that's still part of the family today. But another fun fact I will let slip through here right now is that this Hershey family is indeed the same Hershey family that is related to Milton Hershey. Yes, the founder of Hershey Chocolate Company. Yes, the same Milton Hershey is related to this Hershey family. Okay, there are 3 main reasons I suggest this tour. First of all, you do learn some great history about this family and this farm in this area. Secondly, you get to ride in a cow bus, as I call it. It's a little mini bus with cow print on the sides. Literally, it's very cool. They have air conditioning inside, which is really nice on a hot summer day. The tour guides are wonderful, and we saw a lot and learned a lot. Okay, but the third reason, and probably my favorite reason, the maternity barn. There is literally a maternity barn here. It truly is a thing. While you're on this bus tour, they drive you right through this maternity barn. This is where they keep the expectant mom cows and the slightly newborn cows. So this is the baby barn, basically. And if you get lucky, you actually might see a live birth. They have usually 2 to 3 a day, I believe. So when we went through ours, we had just missed it, but you can see that if you get lucky. Another fascinating part of this tour is when you visit the milking barn and lay your eyes on the milking merry-go-round, or as I call it, the cow carousel. I just could not believe how these cows got on this little carousel willingly and got milked 3 times a day. It is quite a feat in modern farming. They just literally just round them up, they put them in the barn, they just start walking towards the carousel and hop right on. They don't hop. They walk right on and they spin around and they get milked. They hook them onto the machines. It's really quite fascinating. And I was pretty shocked, actually, how well this machine was oiled. Oh, and you do get a small jug of milk while you're there, chocolate or white. So that's really nice. And the last kind of cool thing I want to point out about this tour is there's a really cool silo tower at the end that you can climb up if you wanted to climb, like 500 stairs. Actually, I don't know how many it is, but it was a lot. You do get a one-of-a-kind view of Lancaster County when you're up there. So if you're up for the climb, it's really cool to see the view. Very special. I feel like it'd be a really good idea if then to put a slide in this silo so we could go back down in a really fun way, but that's probably just me. Okay, so whether you did Crider Farm tours or whether you did Lititz and or Greystone alpacas, it is time for dinner. So dinner option number 1 is if you get done everything early and you don't mind a 30-minute drive. It may be nice to sit in the car for a while and just relax as you go through Amish country. I always like a drive through Amish country. But like I said, this is only going to work if you can get here early. And that's because we're heading to Katie's Kitchen for dinner. It is about a 30-minute drive to Katie's from both Crider Farms and Lititz. And we've had a very long and active day, so tonight's a good night to be waited on and just relax. Katie's is an Amish-owned and operated small, cozy restaurant along Hartman Bridge Road. It is a very popular restaurant, and because it is so small, which is great, the wait can be very long. I highly recommend arriving no later than 5 p.m. If you don't mind eating early, I would actually say arrive about 4 p.m. I don't recommend coming here on a Friday or Saturday night because there's going to be a long wait, but you decide what you want to do. But I do think it's a good place to go during the week because it's less crowded. But if you don't feel like driving the whole way there and you just want to do something closer, I do have dinner option number 2, and it is dining in the town of Lititz, whether you were already there or whether you were at Crider Farms. It's only like a 9-minute drive between Crider Farms and Lititz. The dining place I'm going to recommend for dinner this day is the Bull's Head Public House, which is a part of the Lititz Springs Inn. It is attached, but is also its separate own entity. It's its own restaurant. It is actually very cool. We were just there last week, my recent trip to Lancaster, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. My friend who was with me at this place last week has been to England. She said it's very much like an English pub, very, very similar, and it's just a fun place with a lot of the pub food that you expect. There's fish and chips, there's shepherd's pie. It was very delicious. I actually really enjoyed my meal. Very charming ambiance. Had a little fireplace in there, which we used to warm up because it was actually very cold that day when we were in Lititz. But it had really good food, different kinds of tables, high tables, low tables, booths. There's the bar, lots of places to sit. Very, very charming and cozy. Great atmosphere and really delicious food. Really, really love their fries. Love my fish and chips. So all over, a great place to go. And I highly recommend it because it is a fun change from your typical Pennsylvania Dutch style food. It was a neat place. It really was truly an English pub type feel, to the extent where you don't get a server because that's not typically done. You actually go to the bar and order and they bring you out your food. So it's a little different, but really, really fun. Highly recommend it. If you're like, I want to do as much as I possibly can and give me more stuff to do, you feasibly could do the Crider Farm tour, then head over to Lititz. And the last tour at the Johannes Mueller house is 4:15. So you could actually do both those tours in the same day if you're so inclined to be active and running around. I'm with you. I like that kind of day. So most of these places, again, are very close together. I did this on purpose so we can kind of hang out in this upper area here near Mannheim and and Lititz and just kind of stay up in that area for our day, with the exception of going to Katie's Kitchen if you're up to that drive. Okay, I know it was a lot. You guys you're troopers for hanging in with me. There's a lot to talk about. I love talking about Lancaster, and I can go on and on because there's just so much to talk about. There's so much that is offered. There's really special places. So I'm trying to be concise, but also be informative in these videos. I'm hoping you are learning something. I'm hoping you are getting some ideas in your head, how you want to spend your day. But this is my Tuesday. This is the Tuesday I recommend for a great itinerary for almost perfect day. If it was me, I would do Roots, then I would do Crider Farms, then I would go to Lititz. I would do all three in one day. So that would be what I would do, and I hope you enjoyed this itinerary, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you would do, what you wouldn't do. I love all these places. It's a very full day. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to give us a little break. A little less walking, I think. I think we all need a little break from all the walking, but it's been good for us. We're burning calories so we can eat more food. Well, thank you for watching, and thank you for being here and being part of this series. I'm hoping you're learning and having fun doing it. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully you get to have another great adventure in Lancaster soon.